Hello, my name is Nathan Bradford and I'm a buyer agent with the Wolcott team at Remax Escarpment Wolcott here in Burlington, Ontario. I wanted to talk today a little bit about some of the fees that are involved when you're making a purchase of your new home and kind of focus a little bit on the tax portion of it, the land transfer tax and potential for municipal land transfer tax, and specifically the potential for the municipal land transfer tax as it came out in the news yesterday that apparently the new Ontario government is planning on going against one of their election promises of not looking into that or not allowing municipalities to start charging an additional tax on home buyers. But unfortunately, they're looking like they're going to be going through with that. So I wanted to just point out, A, what the overall costs are when you are buying a house, and as well as point out the municipal land transfer tax. And at the end, I'll give you a website to go to if you don't agree with this additional tax, and if you'd like to help us as Ontario realtors in and hopefully being able to stop the ability for municipalities to charge it. Right now, just the City of Toronto has that, and I have some numbers to kind of go over with you for that as well. But to get started, we'll just kind of go over some of the fees. So as you can see here, I've kind of set up a little bit of a slideshow for you. So the first thing, whenever you're making an offer on a house, once your offer is accepted, or sometimes with your offer, you have an initial deposit that is paid. And based on where you are, that can range anywhere from really down to around $500 up to, depending on your house price, it can be $25,000, $30,000. But I'm going to focus a little bit on first-time buyers here. So we're going to keep that number down a little bit because, I mean, generally if you're a first-time buyer, odds are you're probably only putting 5% down. And as well as I go through this, when we get into some of the percentage costs, I'm going to be using a $500,000 purchase and base those numbers on that and a 5% down payment. So once your offer is accepted, you're going to have anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 for a first-time buyer as a deposit. This deposit is held in trust by the listing brokerage in the transaction and is credited towards the purchase price in the end. So it's part of your down payment, not a fee, but it's still some money that is due pretty much right at the beginning of the process. Next, you're going to have your home inspection. Home inspections can vary, and this is also going to be just based on an urban home, so you don't have things like oil inspections or well inspections or septic inspections. So this is just strictly your standard home inspection. Generally, they can range $350 to $500 to $550, depending on who your inspector is and how much detail they go into, and if they charge any extras for things like infrared scanning cameras and things like those lines. Then you get into, so those things are kind of due pretty much right at the beginning. And then you've cleared your conditions and now you're waiting for closing. So now pretty much everything else comes at closing time. So when you get to your lawyer's, obviously your lawyer has a fee. The lawyer's fee, I put $595 down here. This is about an average for this area anyway for what the lawyer's fee is. But in addition to the lawyer's fee themselves, there's additional legal costs. And those are things like registering your mortgage. So you're registering your mortgage is about $150. They have to search title, which is about $400. You have different disbursements that's used along, and these are, your lawyer takes care of all of these. So we'll average it out to about $500. So and then plus title insurance. There's a lot of mortgage companies now are requiring you to have a title insurance to protect their interest, but also protect your interest as well. And this is done through the lawyer at time of closing. So in total, based on a $500,000 purchase, and of course these fees will vary, your legal fees are about $1,765. This is now on top of the home inspection that you've already paid, but this comes on closing. So this is part of what you're going to pay to your lawyer on closing. Additional fees, of course, when it comes to closing, is the balance of your down payment. So in this case, if we put $5,000 down, it's a $500,000 purchase, the balance of 5% is $20,000. So that's rest of money that you're going to bring to your lawyer on closing. And then you have your provincial land transfer tax. So in Ontario, it's an escalating scale based on the purchase price. So in this example, a $500,000 purchase would have a land transfer tax of $64.75. Or if you're a first-time buyer, and since we're going to focus on that a little bit, you potentially qualify for up to a $2,000 credit, so it'd be $44.75. With the total fees for a first-time buyer of $67.40, which is due up front, plus your excuse me, plus your down payment. That's with the credits. What that does not take into account though is your CMHC fees. So your CMHC fees are based on percentage of down payment. So in this case, including HST, it's actually just under $20,000, but it's rolled into your mortgage over the amortization. So I didn't put it in here because it's not money up front that you have to have. It's worked into your monthly payments. So in total, since this is what we're focusing on is the land transfer tax, you have a land transfer tax in Ontario on the $500,000 purchase of $64.75. Toronto is the only municipality right now that already has that, and the rates can vary. So they have not exactly doubled the amount, but they've come pretty close. So if we were in Toronto right now, we would pay an additional $57.24 in municipal land transfer taxes, for a total of $12,200 in land transfer taxes that are due on closing. It's quite a hit to people, and definitely does reduce the number of purchases that people may make, and really restrict some first-time buyers, because now with the average prices being so high, not only do they have to save more, but now it's going to cost more as well. There are rebates, of course, like I mentioned earlier, and there is rebates in this case on the municipal land transfer tax as well. So in this example, if you were a first-time buyer and qualified for the different rebates, both provincially and municipally, your total would be $87.40. So again, that's based on the Toronto municipal land transfer taxes and the rebates for both provincial and that. So now there's other costs though. Unfortunately, obviously a cost, there's your first cost, which is your direct individual financial cost. But there's a bigger picture to this as well, and this comes down to the economy, really, in the end, and how it affects the cities or the municipalities in general. So in 2008 is when Toronto added the municipal land transfer taxes, and 5 years later, so in 2013, there were studies done, and it is estimated that by adding the municipal land transfer tax, it did cost the City of Toronto approximately 38,000 housing transactions. It's also estimated that each housing transaction adds about $55,000 in consumer spending. So these are things like home improvements, what else? Home improvements, buying furniture, appliances, and of course fees to different professionals as well. So when you take that out, 55,000 times 38,000 is $2.3 billion in economic activity. And of course, economic activity means a more vibrant city, means that there's taxes being paid in other ways as opposed to directly from the housing purchase itself, a little bit divided up. And on top of that, an additional 15,000 jobs in the City of Toronto. If you then take that out and put it into other municipalities in the area, you just imagine what that can do to the current state of unemployment, of what's happening. Look at Hamilton right now being one of the best places in Canada to invest. If now you added an additional tax to these buyers who are first-time buyers, generally also investors as well, but the first-time buyers, if it then keeps them out, you're going to stifle a rebounding economy that has been extremely reliant on industry, which is struggling as it is with the industries that are there. And then on top of that, now add where it's tougher for people to buy places and then going to cost additional jobs, it just gets a little ridiculous. So like I said, a total of $2.3 billion in lost economic activity and 15,000 jobs in Toronto alone. Take that out and it's pretty bad. So what can you do? So that right now the provincial government was working to redo the Municipals Act? Sorry. Public comments are allowed until October 31st of this year. So unfortunately, that's 2 days from now, and the story came out pretty late, so it doesn't give us a lot of time. But the Ontario Real Estate Association has been lobbying the provincial government for a number of years now to help restrict the municipal land transfer tax allowances. But unfortunately, it looks like the government is going to go ahead and make the changes to the Municipals Act to allow them before even the public input process is finished. So the Ontario Real Estate Association has set up a website. It's called don'ttaxmydream.ca. Definitely encourage you to go to that website, take a look at all the stats and information that's there. contact your MPP, tell them what you think about this, encourage them to change their minds, to not give the approvals for the municipalities to go ahead and add this additional tax. It's just it's going to cost everybody a lot more in the end than just $3,000 or an additional $6,000. It can long-term, it does cost a lot more for every municipality. Please feel free to share this as well. Get the word out to as many people as you can. Friends, family, just go to so it's don'ttaxmydream.ca. I'm going to see if I can put a link down here at the bottom of the video for you, or at least type it out for you. But if not, it'll be in the comments section attached to this video. Please make sure that you go to that website, take a look at it, and let your voices be heard. Thanks, and have a great day.